everybody's incredibly busy. I'm running around all over the place, but that's the thing with Hougoumont. It's all walls and gates, and getting from one place to the other isn't straightforward, but that's how it was at the time. And we've got a lot of activity in the killing zone, which is the open ground that the French had to negotiate before they took on the walls. And very excitingly, we've now got grape shot. It looks as though they've been used against the walls, which is new evidence. I suspect they're grazing the top of the wall with it to take out musketeers on the top of the wall. In the courtyard itself, we've now got 3 trenches. We're continuing work we started last year, looking for evidence of buildings that stood along 2 sides of the courtyard, which were badly damaged by fire during the battle. The French shelled them. They were just burnt out shells, so they were demolished. Nothing to see on the surface now. So when you walk in here, you get a very open aspect. There's a lot of space. That wasn't the case at the time. And of course, it's that open area down there that the French burst into when they kicked open the North Gate. So getting evidence for how the buildings were arranged will give us a much better idea of how fierce that fight was. But it also gives us evidence as to the history of the farm itself.
My name is Charlie Foinette, and I'm one of the founders of Waterloo Uncovered. We're interested in one particular day in the several hundred-year history of this farm, but of course what we're finding in archaeological terms is a decent cross-section of that several hundred years of history. The assemblage of artefacts you get here is everything from loose change to buttons to bits and pieces of domestic equipment, a thimble, all sorts of stuff, right through to things that are incontrovertibly connected to the battle. Trying to set this battle into the landscape of the history that surrounds it is very important, because one of the first things we found when we dug here were brick kilns that were probably used when the farm was built about 300-400 years ago. And we've got everything up to the present day. Reenactors that had left a week ago, we're finding bits and pieces of their gash loafing around the position. Some of it is as well about the sort of historiography of the battlefield. The number of people who have come here to visit it and study it since that day in 1815. We're finding coins, for instance, from all over the world, different periods, going back to the 19th century. Some of them will have been brought here by people who came here specifically to visit the battlefield. So it's as much about human understanding and reaction to these great historical events as it is about the events of that particular day itself.
My name's Hillery Harrison. I am the finds officer for Waterloo Uncovered. First couple of days we are getting the musket balls, which we always get, some French, some English, some have been fired, some have been dropped. We've also got a dragoon pistol ball, which is slightly bigger than the normal ones, which came from the Mont Saint-Jean site. We've had a couple of thimbles, and it's the first time we've had thimbles come up. What else have we got on here? We have got some really beautiful grape shot. Very heavy for its size, so that is really exciting. This is a more unusual amongst the flints that we found. It's been found in the killing ground. It's a French colour flint, because the French colour flints are much lighter in colour, the English ones are black. And it's different because the lead wrapping, which all flints have on them, because they can't be put into a musket without them because they would shatter when the jaws are closed, is horseshoe shaped. It's a really, really beautiful one. We haven't seen one before. I'm going to have to put in a lot of research to be able to give any more detail, but it's very exciting. And I really love getting things which are different.
I'm Emiel Picard and I'm the lead shot analyst at Waterloo Uncovered. With the musket balls we can tell who shot what. This is a British one, it's bigger than a French one and therefore is also a bit heavier. British are mostly around 30 grams and the French ones are about 24, 25, 26. The problem with the musket balls that are round, you don't know really if they're fired or not, and therefore you have to really clean them and look at very small details. We are looking for vertical striations in it, dents. If they get shot, they bounce a bit in the barrel because they were muzzle loaded. Pistol balls really tell close combat fighting happened. With the pistol is, well, if you fire it once, then you're not going to reload it when people are fighting around you. A lot of officers had their private pistols, so they were not commissioned by the army. Soldiers could have one if they had the money to afford one. The firing power of a musket wasn't very much. That ball, well, it's probably British, and it is half flattened, and that's probably because it hit a wall. Sometimes you even still can find pieces of brick that are inside the musket ball, and then we can definitely say it was a wall. You can tell quite a lot about musket balls. It's all about patterning. Therefore, we use the GPS system to mark it. Then we know what object was found where. And then you can see at the density of the objects, it's more likely if there's a lot of musket balls at one place that fighting occurred, and even what line of attack they used. And so you can tell a lot by looking at the patterning of musket balls.
I'm James Earley, I'm an archaeologist with the University of Leicester. I'm one of the trench supervisors on site, and we are in Trench 60, which is inside the walled garden. We have taken off the topsoil and we found a couple of musket balls within that. We are now down onto the subsoil and literally just found a pancaked musket ball that has been fired and impacted. And we're also finding other ferrous items, so iron objects that could be from the battle. We just had the metal detectorist go over. We've got quite a few flags in now, so hopefully we can find some more musket balls. There would have been all the British defenders along the wall line where we're actually excavating, with the French firing into the garden and the British firing out. So hopefully the new signals we got will pull up some French ones. But at the minute we've opened up 2 trenches in the killing zone, and we're opening up one over a previous area we had last year. The killing zone has been amazing for finds. We've got a lot of information out of it, and I'm hoping we can actually sort of see the sort of ebb and flow of the battle just in the killing zone.
I'm Gary Craig and I'm working here at Waterloo Uncovered at Hougoumont Farm as one of the lead metal detectorists. What we're doing here is this signal here. This signal is an iron signal, so that could possibly be a grape shot, part of a grape shot, or it could be a nail or a bolt, so we'll have to dig that so we can actually get the context of the battle site. We're detecting in the killing zone. We've got the veterans here, they're coming at the back of us, they're digging out the finds. GPS guys coming at the back of that and they'll record all the finds. What we've done so far is we've had about 6 trenches in the killing zone at the top end, and what we're seeing at the top is a lot more finds, so there's been a lot more action at the top corner of that field.
We've got other areas that we're waiting to open up around here to do a trench just beyond the chestnut trees, but these trees were standing here at the time of the battle, and if you look at the base of the trunks you can see the musket ball strikes, and if you put a metal detector against them they ping. And other than that, we've got a site over at Mont Saint-Jean, which is up on the ridge, which is where one of the main field hospitals was, and they're putting in a roundabout there, so we've been tasked basically checking that there's no important archaeology there before they construct this new stretch of road and roundabout. So it's all go, really.